Hi, everyone. It's Casey here with the NNBA, and I'm with some super special guests. I'm very excited. They made time to talk with us all the way in Texas. So we have Becky and Brenda here. Becky may be a familiar face to some of you guys. She is an NNBA member, and she's been a nurse for a long time. Brenda is her daughter. She's a tax accountant, and we're just going to talk about some things like money, entrepreneurship, nurses, all kinds of things. So welcome, you guys.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Yeah. Is there any kind of delay or anything with my voice that you can hear?
No.
No. Okay, perfect. Sometimes it's like that. So I kind of want you guys to have a chance to just talk about yourselves and your background. Becky, if you want to start, you can kind of say what you need to say and then pass it along to Brenda.
Okay. Well, thanks for having us, Casey. We're really excited to talk about all things business and finance. I've myself been a nurse for over 30 years, and I've also been a business manager for my family business that my grandfather started in 1952. I've started and sold my own business and recently started a new business, ClearPath Financial Services.
Awesome.
Hi, thanks for having us. We're excited. I remember growing up watching my mom work on the computer all the time and was really intrigued by it. So I worked at a landscape company when I was in college and kind of did their bookkeeping and learned from her on our family business, kind of taking over the ropes when she started her nursing business, her first one in 2020. And then I've always kind of just been a numbers person, and taxes was always kind of scary for a lot of people, and I thought it was fun. So that's kind of why I chose that background. And I've always been a money girl since I was in elementary school. So it's kind of the route that I went, watching mom grow up or her doing everything. And I was like, well, I think I could do it too. And I like working from home. So.
And she's really good with taxes.
Oh, good. I like working from home
Really
too.
good tax
So
strategy. She's so smart. I like to think she takes after her mom. But really we're like fourth generation bookkeeping, taxes, payroll kind of gals. I just did a sidestep for 30 plus years in nursing as well. So kind of like dual careers.
Yeah.
And she chose one of them.
well, that's perfect. It's good to have somebody in the family that can. Do you do all your family's taxes?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
that's so nice. I wish you were my
it's-
sister.
I get to yell at them when they don't upload their documents. Like, where are they at? I can't do them.
I love it. Well, it's so funny hearing people say that kind of stuff. I'm like the complete opposite of that. Like, not a numbers person, hate tax season. So it's just funny how people are so different. I love that. But so you guys are a great kind of yin and yang for what we're going to talk about. Just kind of like nursing entrepreneurship, the fear, just entrepreneurship in general, like the fear around money and business. It's a lot of nurses are, I'm speaking specifically about nurses, of course, but a lot of nurses are really good clinically, but are really intimidated by business finances. So maybe they're like, I really think I could make a difference in this way, but I just don't know anything about business. I just am scared. Why? I don't know which one of you guys can answer this question, both of you maybe, but why would you think nurses specifically are so scared of starting because of money? Do you think it's because of our culture of working 312s and getting paid every 2 weeks, or what do you think about that?
I'll answer this one.
Yeah, go for
okay.
it.
I think there are several reasons, and one of them is, that, like you said, the financial security of clocking in and clocking out, knowing you have your check coming, your insurance. It's that financial stability, and as nurses, we know clinically how to take care of sick patients. And when you're a business owner, you have to know the financial side as well, like in a hospital, we're all clinical, or in home health or whatever environment. We kind of know there's things going on in the background. There's the payroll department, the HR department, the business office. We know that's all happening, but we're never taught how to be business owners, how to run and operate a business. So losing that, or thinking you're going to lose financial stability, is scary. And then I think also just not understanding finances. And for me, I think, to relate it to nurses, I know we're, not just specifically to nurses, but today's discussion is that I kind of like the analogy that I like to use is when I was in the hospital or home care, I could see lab results and it told me a lot about somebody's overall health. And I think of finances, like if you have really good bookkeeping and payroll and tax organization, you use those numbers to look at the health of your business. And do I need to adjust? Do I need to cut back here? Can I invest in growth here? So I think, it's something that is learnable. If we can learn to be nurses, we can learn how to run a business. I honestly, all the nurses out there will know that and you yourself being a nurse, like it's crazy hard, but learning to be a business owner, the financial side, you can learn it. And if you start somewhere and you start learning about it, and then you get to that point where, okay, I understand it, but I don't like it, then you ship it out. Like, I'm sure, like she's licensed with the IRS as a tax accountant. I'm sure you're not going to go that far, but you do want to build like a good team, financial team behind your business. Excuse our dog here. Of course, the snack.
Don't worry. Mine's going to be barking in a minute. We can just take turns.
So, I mean, not to get too much more lengthy, but I mean, from a personal experience, I watched a nurse-owned business owner really struggle with her finances. And instead of getting the help to understand the health of her business, she kind of just blocked it out and struggled and lost her business and lost a lot of money. So I think as you learn and build your team, just like you would in a hospital, you don't do everything. So if you need to hire out your bookkeeping and payroll, if that makes you stronger as a business owner, it lets you focus on what you do best. I think that's where nurses struggle, is not getting the help they need, and then worrying that, that check is not coming every other week.
I agree with that. You makes perfect sense. So just to add on that, I think nurses are expected to do so much, and so much is put on our plate when we're doing patient care. And a lot of times we'll need help or we'll need an answer and we can't get it. And so it kind of becomes like, I have to do it all myself. I am like the backbone of this healthcare, whatever it is. I worked in recovery, and I worked in psych. And so sometimes it's hard to like get a hold of a therapist or something. So it's like, you kind of got to manage it right in the moment. So I think nurses are just kind of wired that way. So as someone who started a business, or more, has all these years of business experience, do you think nurses, but people in general, think that they need a lot more money to get started than they really do? Or do you think that is, it seems like people think like, I'm going to need a business loan, I'm going to need this, I'm going to need that. What are your thoughts on that?
We take this one too to start. Okay, I'll start this one, and I'm pretty sure Brenda could wrap this question up.
Okay.
Yes, it costs money to start a business, and I think if you have the right help, whether it is going to the NNBA conference and listening to some amazing presenters, is it getting a coach? Is it getting a mentor? Is it reaching out to another business owner that's doing what you're doing and asking for mentorship? I think where you spend your money in the beginning is really important to put a lot of thought into it. Yes, it costs money. Some businesses more than others, but in the back of your mind, thinking like the ROI, the return on investment, like if I invest with this coach, what can I get out of it? You're going to grow your business. You're going to have amazing support. You're going to network. You're going to create opportunities that you didn't know that was there. So, yes, it costs money to start a business, depending on the type of the amount. But in the back of my mind, I know that I'll let Brenda take over, as far as like the tax side, those first couple years. I'll let Brenda answer that.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that scares people, at least from what I see come across my desk, talking with people, just not even nurse specific, but any sort of business. I have one client who's a home stager. And, she did it for a company and then wanted to go out on her own, but she was so scared too. She's like, I don't have the stability. I don't even know anything about finances. I don't know where to start. How do I track things? What do I do? And I'm like, well, this is why you go to someone. You either talk to someone that's been a home stager or been a nurse, or you find someone that can help you. And I mean, the last 3 years I've spent in California learning about the tax side of things. I worked for a tax office who has 20 plus years of experience and learned how to run a business, the front side and the back side, and started on my own. And, you put some money in, but I mean, I've already, tripled, quadrupled, whatever the next number is, on my ROI. So, I mean, it's worth it. I mean, it takes time. I mean, I spent 3 years building my own clientele between the tax side of things, the bookkeeping side of things. But if you have the right people with you, working with you, you can do it. I mean, it's hard, it's a lot, but the amount of time that you can put into it and the amount of time that you work with it is well worth it when you can schedule everything on your own. You're not a 3 12s or 5 10s or 5 8s in a week. You can really have the flexibility to do things on your own. And I just think having the right people behind you is the biggest thing, even if it's short term. I mean, I worked for 3 years for an office and now I'm on my own, and I call him as a mentor to ask questions. And, you just need the right people in your corner, and anyone can be successful with it, with the right people and the right time, and, putting the effort into it. So.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I totally agree with that. And that is why it's so important, to have a community of people behind you that can, support you, like you said, and kind of be mentors to you. And I told you, as soon as your dog stopped, mine would start. I'm like, what is your deal with like chewing things out today? So I think flexibility too is anytime anyone says anything about flexibility, I point it out, because to me, that's my biggest why. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I have a dog, which is like my kid, but it's like, if one of my friends is getting married, I lived in Texas. If I want to go to Texas, I went for my birthday last month. Like, I just want to be able to get up and go. And I hated, having to ask my job, like, can I have this day off? It feels like, it's my life. Of course I can have this day off, but it's like requesting, and then do I have the PTO? Do I have enough money to go? I just think it's so important. And I love what you said about the ROI. I think that's, congratulations, by the way. That's amazing that you were able to do so well. I love that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
This was my first year on my own, not working for someone else. So it was really, cool to, you see your bank account build and you make friendships with your clients. And now I have one client that I call for advice because he's a financial advisor. So I go to him and he comes to me and he sends me clients and vice versa. So it's you would be surprised kind of the networking from clients to friends to referral. I mean, I have one client that sent me 5 referrals within a week. So it grows faster than you think when you have the right people, clientele and people in your own corner. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
You're a success story.
I say investing time and money into your business, and just to have that attitude to build that support team and just keep focusing on, what you do best and growing and learning, and it will pay off. The opportunities when you reach out for coaching, mentorship, conferences, and the networking, the opportunities that you didn't know even could exist are there. So it's definitely entrepreneurship is not easy, but it is 1,000% worth it.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. We hear that all the time. And that's something like that we offer these through the NNBA, these monthly member connections calls. And I just think, if you are a member, it's $199 a year, right? Well, I had a member join one of those calls and got a client, and that was something that they told me, and I'm like, right there, you made back your money plus probably, times 10. Like that's really awesome. So just being in the right circles and investing time in the right, things, like, an hour of her time got her a client, so I just think that kind of stuff, like you guys are saying, being surrounded by the right people, yeah, and it's great to be able to there are members that we utilize members all the time for, like, a bit of our Bridget Montez. She's she does like writing or websites, and she helped us make our new website that we're about to launch. Like, it's just a way to, like, get visible and meet new people within your field, which I think is awesome. But I could go on and on about that. So it's the problem with these, like, timed calls. I'm like, I want to talk about. So Becky, when I talked to you the first time, we kind of talked about business write-offs and things that business owners in general, but nurses for us, like, don't realize. So let's take a minute to talk about some of those things. Like, what can business owners benefit from financially? Like, are there common tax write-offs that entrepreneurs or nurse entrepreneurs miss? Can things like conferences, hotels, trips, meals, networking, can those be considered business expenses? What about coaching? Just kind of take it from there. I don't want to ask questions and get confused.
Go for it.
Yeah. So I think what a lot of, at least from what I've seen come across my desk, or even when I was in California working, they send us a profit and loss statement or a balance sheet that they've done themselves, and most of the time it's fine, it works, but there's no cell phone on there, or there's no vehicle expenses. I'm like, well, don't you talk on your phone to client? Well, yeah, well, that needs to be on it. You may use it half the time for personal and half the time for business, but if you use it for business, it needs to go on your tax return. It needs to be on that profit and loss statement. So office expenses, do you have a printer, a computer that you use? Well, that needs to go on there. Even if you bought it, a year ago with your personal money that you're now using to create your business from scratch, I mean, that can go on the tax return as a depreciation expense, things like that. So I think staying organized, opening up a separate checking account, a credit card for the business, things like that. And then I love QuickBooks. I think it's really user friendly. I have some clients that do it themselves, and it's good, but I have other clients that don't know what they're doing, which is fine, because they're good at staging homes or being an infusion nurse, anything really. And that's where I come in on the bookkeeping and the tax side of things. I go in and I do their bookkeeping year round, and then I have the statements to run their tax return. And it's a 5-minute phone call to finish everything up, and they're good to go for the year. So, and they get to see the monthly reports that are probably more accurate than if they do them themselves, which is fine. I don't know anything about nursing except what she's told me. or what I've seen at the hospitals and whatnot. So that's not my expertise at all. So I go to her with questions, or, I don't know anything about advertising or website building. So I outsourced it to a client actually that does that stuff. So I think it's all about who's in your corner,
Yeah. And as far as like the tax write-off for travel and education and conferences, like anytime you spend money on your business, it's a write-off.
Yes.
And so like my partner and I will be at the NMBA conference in July. So I know the airfare, the hotels, the rental car, when I stop at Starbucks to buy a coffee, like the entire trip reduces our taxable income.
Yes.
And, I just from managing our family business for 25 years, and now especially with the daughter who's a tax accountant, it's what it comes second nature to us. What you can write off is, having a good accountant or bookkeeper to teach you all these things can save a lot of money. And I know like the first 2 years when you're in business, I'll let Brenda answer this, but the IRS will let you take a loss, which helps you financially. So it kind of relieves some of the, I guess, the pressure when that initial 2 years, when, a year or two until you're making money, it does take some of that pressure off. Personally, when I was starting my business, and I know the first 2 years of my first business I started, it was not doing well at all. And I was ready to close the doors. And I had just gone to the NMBA conference and was just so reinvigorated. I hadn't really reached out for support before. And I was like, wow, these they're all nurses, like 150, 75, however many. And I'm like, oh my God, I can do this. Like, I can do this. I just need more help. I thought, nursing for 20 or 30 years, business manager for 25, I know enough to do it all. Well, I learned there. I still had a lot to learn about sales and marketing and building relationships in business and other things. And Lori Brown, the nurse attorney, was one of the speakers who inspired me. And as I was ready to shut the doors on my first business, I reached out and I got her help. And I thought, oh my gosh, more money on coaching. She wants me to take out another loan. Oh my gosh. But I felt like I had enough support and confidence in myself after that conference and in Lori that 2 years later, I sold it for a lot of money. And I almost shut the doors and took a big loss. So that first 2 years, you do have some pressure as far as like being able to take a loss on your business before the IRS, I believe, starts looking and wondering, why is this business still open? But
yeah, I think the biggest misconception with, taxes is everyone's just, let's go open up an LLC. And there's a lot better ways to be taxed than an LLC. A small business, someone doing it on the side, it's fine. But, you start growing, there's ways to be more
strategic.
Yes, so that's kind of where I step in. Anyone can go to TurboTax and do their own. I've turned clients away because I'm like, you have one W-2, go to TurboTax. It's a lot cheaper. They do a great job with that. But you get, the write-offs if they don't have a profit and loss statement. That's where I step in and I say, okay, well, let's go through, what can we do better? What are you missing? Where can we change things for next year or even the current year if it's early enough? What can you do better on your side, and what can I do to help you be more prepared for tax season, or even if they're doing their own bookkeeping? You can take losses. It's fine. It happens. You just, there's things you need to be careful of. And there's things that you can push harder. So I think it's having the right people to, where to step and where not to step. and having everything kind of in line. You know, the first year going to conferences, you have a lot of expenses, a lot of startup costs, but there's different ways to kind of input it to where you can take it over so many years versus, you know, a $10,000 hit right then, you can spread it out over 5 years. So now you have an expense lasting for 5 years. Most of the time, first year, no, I don't see very many people make a lot of money their first year, but I mean, I do see some, you know, there's, you find niches that, you know, need people.
Look at you.
Yeah, I felt like I did great for my first year on officially.
You're the exception to the rule.
So, you know, there's the 2 year rule. You know, 2 years loss, 1 year profit it slides right through, no questions asked. And then as you grow, you have more expenses, and you know, you see people go from making $100,000 a year to making $5 million a year, so they have a lot more going on, and that's usually, you know, where they need more help. I mean, I talk to some clients once a month for an hour going through everything about, well, is this considered a write-off? I say, of course it is. If you use it for a business, put it in your business. Little things, big things, like her going to the conference in July. You know, that's everything needs to be run through the business. Now, when you are at home and you DoorDash food on a Saturday, you know, that might be pushing it a little bit, but
Yeah.
like the Starbucks at the airport, going to a conference, 100% put that in. The hotel, I go to an IRS conference once a year. I go to San Diego every year. So my flights, my hotels, all my meals, you know, getting breakfast before, I buy lunch there, you know, that all gets run through my business because it is a business expense. It's for my continuing education hours I have to do every year. So yeah, but without rambling too much more.
No, this is great. As someone that does not understand taxes at all, like I know that the people watching this are going to get so much out of it because I'm getting so much out of it. It's like, it's kind of like if you're good at math, you're not good at English. If you're good at English, you're not good at math. I don't know what my trade-off was, but numbers, like I just don't. Taxes, I don't get. My dad owns a business. My sister owns a business. You would think I would have a little bit more of an idea, but no, it's like, so I'm learning a lot. I think it's great. And now I have a question based off of what you guys are saying. Do you have to have an LLC or like an established business to be writing things off? That might be a stupid question, but I'm telling you, I don't know anything. Like,
No
or
stupid
like,
question.
what is well, I'm going to test that. What is like a good way to get organized if you are like money you have to make a year need? Like, when does it stop being like a hobby or like something you just do like a side hustle and then needing to be like a business?
So
Good question.
I don't think there's really like a money mark. You know, I used to make blankets. That was like my thing to make extra money in college. So, you know, that was just pocket money. You know, a couple $100s here and there, nothing crazy. I think someone that is wanting to start a business, you know, hopefully it's successful, whether it is or not. You can open up an LLC, but I don't do very many LLC tax returns when it's on the personal. Just it gets messier versus, you know, having an LLC taxed as an S corporation, or, you know, if me and mom started a business as a partnership, those are better routes to go. It's a second tax return, but it's a lot cleaner that way, without going into too much detail about it. But, you know, someone making $20,000, $30,000 a year, I would open up an LLC for them so they have that limited liability coverage. You know, a lot of people care about that stuff. But, you know, someone like her with her first nursing business, she was a corporation. She had the coverage as an LLC, but she was taxed as an S corporation. So because she was going to make money, I knew she was going to make money. She just had to believe in herself to do it. So when she finally, you know, was making quite a bit, it was a lot more beneficial being a corporation versus being an LLC. It's a lot cleaner, which I know probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to, you know, the average person that doesn't really know, but you see corporation tax returns come across your desk, and you see an LLC tax return come across your desk, and it's like, a college essay versus a second grader writing an essay. So it's cleaner that way. But like I said, I mean, there's really no money mark. If it's a legit business, an LLC is the route to go. But when you start making real money, anything over $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, then there's better routes to take for it.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it totally makes sense. And it makes sense to me, which is the second grader writing the essay when it comes to that. So that's perfect. Also, I realized I didn't point this out, but Lori is amazing. She's going to be one of our speakers this year. She's very involved in the NNBA. We love her. I've talked with her and kind of interviewed her, and that's how I actually found out about you. So it's so important to, have the community and the right connections, because then you find out about different people. And, Brenda, yes. I might be reaching out to you, my tax queen. But okay, so let's talk a little bit about like investing in yourself, because we touched on that, like any kind of continuing education trips or anything like that. So I think sometimes nurses see that like professional growth, like hiring a coach or some kind of consultant, as more of like a luxury. Like that's not what I should be investing my money in right now. But what we've talked about this whole time is how big networking and your community is such a huge part of like your business growth. So and this might be subjective, but what would you say is the difference between like spending money strategically versus like emotionally when investing in growth as a business owner? Does that make sense? Like, what advice would you give to someone that is feeling guilty spending money on like coaching, or like my business is about to shut down, I can't spend $10,000 on coaching?
I would say that the money that you invest in your growth as a business owner, operator, startup, the money that you invest through conferences, mentoring, coaching, I think it prevents costly mistakes later. And it will build your confidence. I avoided it in the beginning of my first business because, okay, I got the loan, I got the LLC, like I did all the things I'm supposed to do, but I did not invest in just growing. And I think, confidence comes with learning when you start putting yourself out there in these conferences. And, like Lori, when I started working with her, I didn't realize she had a coaching group. So suddenly I not just have Lori, but I have a group of other nurses just like me, overwhelmed and struggling and worried about money and finances. And boy, if I had done this all in the beginning, it would have actually been cheaper. And it would have been felt more, less stressful and overwhelming, and definitely more supportive. So yeah, I think investing prevents costly mistakes later, and it helps you build your confidence as a business owner.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. You're like ditto. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, and I'm very interested. So I'm going to try to move on just to save you guys the time, because I have a million questions I could ask. But okay. Kind of wrapping up before we talk about how to reach you guys and what y'all have going on. What would you say, just some takeaway financial tips for nurses or new business owners or old business owners, just whoever? What are 3 things every business owner should be doing now? Or what is the easiest way to make tax season less stressful? Is it staying organized? Is it getting a good community? I'm curious for both of you guys. What would your advice be?
We have a lot of tips.
Give them.
I
got my pen.
think my biggest one is to be, organized. I think knowing where your money's going every month when I first started bookkeeping on the side, I opened up a checking account. I had a credit card, and I was, swiping left and right. So I'm like, oh, it's a business expense. I need to use it. And it was legitimate, but that next month I look at my profit and loss statement and I'm like, oh, I spent a lot more money than I thought I did. So now I'm kind of behind the 8 ball. So I think doing the bookkeeping, every month reconciling your statements, whether you do it or you hire someone, because you can see, well, I spent $2,000 on office expenses, but I had 0 clients that month. Well, why was I spending so much money here? Or why was I spending so much money on meals, or whatever the expense category may be? I think the staying organized, getting that monthly report every month so you can really see where your money's going, whether you need to spend it or not. Some people buy a new computer when they don't have anything, but they needed it, which is fine. You need a computer to run a business. You need something. So I just think looking at your numbers every month is a huge help to see where your money's going, how much you're bringing in. Are you profitable this month? Are you not profitable? Well, why not? Kind of where you can make adjustments accordingly to hopefully be profitable, especially after, hopefully a year or two, you are in the green area versus the red area. So I think that would be my biggest tip for people, is to be really, really organized with their money. So that way they know where it's going. They're not questioning anything. And they just, I guess that's kind of it. That would be my
That's
thing.
great. That is really great.
I would say to new potential nurse entrepreneurs or business owners is you don't have to know everything to get started, and to build that support team around you so that you can kind of stay in your zone of excellence and grow with that support. For sure, those would be my biggest tips.
I love that. You don't have to know everything to get started. That is such a common thing I hear, is like, well, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. I'm not a coach. I do, member engagement and operations, but I do I'm kind of like the hub, like, let me get you to where you need to go. I'm like, you don't need to know everything. What is the main thing you need to know right now? So if it was something about taxes, I'd send them to you. If it's something about mindset, I might send them to Nina. If it's something about, like law, I would send them to Lori, So I think you're right. Like, you don't need to know everything. So that's awesome. I love this. This has been super, super helpful. I told you it would be like 15, 20 minutes, and it's now almost 40. So I'm sorry for keeping you. I just love what you guys are talking about. I would love for y'all both to tell, your website, your services, your ideal client, whatever. If you have anything coming up where people can find you, the floor is yours.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Yeah. Okay, I'll go first. So you can reach me at clearpathfinancialservicesllc.com or Rebecca at. And basically what I do is I provide remote payroll, bookkeeping, business system organization, tax-ready financial support. I do that all remotely to help business owners and nurse entrepreneurs have financial clarity and reduce stress so that they can really focus on what they do best and grow their businesses. Having had dual careers in nursing and business, and lightning bolt moments when I started my first business in 2020. And then most recently I love nursing, but I really love all these numbers and taxes and bookkeeping. I really do enjoy it. And I thought, why not, right? When you're a nurse looking to start a business, your first thought, sometimes your first thoughts are fear, like, I can't do that. I'm more of a nurse, but I'm just like the bookkeeper for the family business. No, wait. And my daughter says, but Mom, you're really good at it. She's like,
Pretty good.
And I really enjoy it. So that's what I do now. And I do it all remotely through QuickBooks. And I just love it. And I love helping business owners. Having seen myself and other business owners struggle from not understanding like I look at your finances, your bookkeeping, your profit and loss statements. They're just tools to help you understand the financial health of your business and to help you make business decisions, to make you a business owner and to grow and be successful and feel confident that you don't need that paycheck from the hospital anymore because you're going to treat yourself way better than that hospital or whoever corporate world you're working for at the time. So reach out to me if you need help with your bookkeeping or payroll.
Awesome. And I will include all of your links and stuff in the show notes,
Okay.
so people can just click and get right to you. So if you're watching this, look below, I guess it will be, and there will be all of Becky and Brenda's links. So, but go ahead, Brenda.
Okay. So my tax business is called Empire Income Tax. I'm rebuilding my website right now, so I don't know how long it'll be down for, but it'll just be empireincometax.com, or Brenda at empireincometax.com. And then you can call or text me if you mention this webinar, I guess, interview, whatever you want to call it. You can just text me 737-391-9994. And then we can kind of schedule a consultation to talk about anything. I always tell my clients or new people, I'm not like a lawyer. I don't charge for a 10-minute phone conversation. So if you want to call and kind of run something by me, I can let you know, if I can be beneficial or not. I don't want to nickel and dime people. I don't think it's fair, especially because I see some things come across my desk and it's quite infuriating what people deal with in this world. So I just, a 10, 15, 20-minute phone call, I don't mind at all to kind of go over things and whether I can help or not, and kind of point people in the right direction, whether that's going through TurboTax or, this is the kind of what I would do on your situation. If you grow, this is what we can do differently, or the tax strategy side of things for someone that's maybe been in business for a little bit longer and they just kind of want to see where they can have better options, I guess, as an option or as a word. But yeah, that's kind of my area.
Awesome. Well, I think this has been so helpful. It's been helpful for me, so I know it will be helpful for people that are watching. I love talking to you guys. You're so fun. Now I'm like sad I'm not in Texas anymore. But people can find you, Becky, too, at the conference in July. So you'll be there, which is so exciting. And if you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to them. All their info's below. And thank you, ladies, so much.
Yes. Thanks for having us, Casey. It was fun.
Of course. Yeah. Yes, it was. And our dogs were well behaved. Wherever
yeah,
my
they
dog
were.
is. All right. Bye, ladies.
All right. Bye.